Let me just film it. It's already filmed. Oh.
Okay.
I'm gonna go.
Okay, so we are filming our very first video for Reptiles for Thought, and so right now we're building our leopard gecko enclosure, which we are rescuing a little leopard gecko from just upstate Connecticut. And this is a small low, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's a small low, so it's 18 by 18 by 18. This is not going to be her forever home. We are, we are going to get another baby leopard gecko at some point because Eric really wants one. My boyfriend wants one with lots of spots on them. We are not familiar with the names and morphs of leopard geckos. We're more ball python people, but we're getting into geckos right now. So basically what we did for, and it's just a front opening Exoterra. What we did is we went to Lowe's and we got just these pieces of, I don't know, plywood? They are not plywood. They're like a soft sort of tile-y material because we couldn't figure out what sort of substrate we wanted for the leopard geckos. So we were going to put these in at the very bottom. Eric has them set a very specific way, so I'm just going to lie them out so you can see them before he puts them down. So we're going to have them like that. He's going to, they have a little sticky side to them, so they're just going to adhere. They're going to stick to the bottom of the tank by themselves. And if we have any spaces that are open, we're just going to put some Gorilla Glue or some super glue. And then right now we are currently disinfecting some rocks that we went to the beach and we picked up so that we can make her a whole backdrop and just cover up her floor space with some rocks. And then add in a little bit of our own substrate mixture so that she has something to walk on, but nothing dangerous or harmful to her. And so we're disinfecting those right now. We also have 2 pieces of wood in our oven, which is going to be for our other gecko, who you'll meet eventually. She's a little toge gecko. She's in there. And then you'll meet all of our animals, but we are getting ready for our newest one. So I'm going to have Eric hand me the camera so he can go and put the stuff in.
All right, so here's my little voiceover. I am currently using my boyfriend's Turtle Beach headphones that he uses for his gaming set. But basically right now, Eric is just taking the adhesive off of the little faux wood tile things that we have. And he's just placing it in the back, making sure it's all nice and flush, pressing it down with his big old man hands. He didn't like that. He cringed. He's right next to me. All right, now he's just taking off the adhesive for the second piece. He threw a piece in. That's a no-no, so I took all of them out. I tried to speed this up as much as I could, but, you know, a girl who's learning to edit can only do so much. But I took out some clips for you guys, but there he is just pressing in the second piece, and there he is pressing in the third piece so that we could have our really nice, beautiful background. And
Floor.
Our floor. Why did I say background? I meant floor. But look, you'll see in the second video.
Eric did it. It looks very gorgeous. So basically,
it looks beautiful.
It looks very beautiful. When we went to Lowe's, we basically got just 3 loose pieces of I don't know what it is, like some fake sort of wood that cannot give the leopard gecko any splinters or anything because they have tiny little gecko feet.
It's very nice.
We want it to be nice and safe, but we also want it to look fire. We want it to look good.
This gecko is gonna live in luxury.
In the Ritz hotel. That's what we want this gecko to live in because
yes, in my leopard gecko. It lives in the Hamptons.
It lives in the Hamptons. And so all we had to do was we just had to measure with a tape measure 18 by 18, and then Eric took a little handsaw. You don't even have to get like an expensive saw because you're gonna learn.
I'm gonna cut a picture into this video right now.
Basically, you're gonna learn by watching us that we don't have a lot of money and we're starting out and we're amateurs and we're learning, and you're going to learn with us. But again, we don't have a lot of money. So you are going to find lots of nice and cheap ways to do things, like going to the beach and getting rocks so that
First of all, we say we're not gonna spend a lot of money, but every enclosure so far, every pet has cost us over $400.
But that's because we have problems and we care more about the well-being of our pets than we do for ourselves. We aren't okay. But our reptiles are, and so is our hamster. We have a hamster too. You'll meet her. But yeah, we're gonna cut this out. We're gonna go check on. Actually, let's go show the rocky rocks. All right. So this has been sitting in here for probably 30 minutes, right?
Yeah, we live right by the beach, so it helps a lot.
Yeah, we live right by the beach, so we just got a bunch of like flat-ish rocks, the bigger ones, so that Eric can make his own little hide for the gecko.
She needs a humid hide.
She needs a humid hide. We have a cool side hide right now that we're gonna put kind of on the wall-ish area. But yeah, we just took 50 parts of 5% vinegar and 50% not parts. 50% water, 50% of the 5% vinegar.
50 part vinegar, 50 part water, 50 part rock.
50 part rock. Because we're nervous that bleach would do something, and we also couldn't find 6% vinegar, which, what are you gonna do? So those have been sitting there for a half hour. This has probably been in there for a half hour too, right?
Dad's been in there for a while, dude.
So we should take them out.
About an hour. Leave it.
Okay. Eric gets nervous with bacteria.
Germaphobe.
Germaphobe.
Man.
We
I
actually.
don't want my reptiles having COVID.
So we're gonna leave those in there because those aren't gonna be for this enclosure. We're not really gonna use any wood. We're gonna use mostly rock themed things. But this has been sitting there for a half hour, so I'm pretty sure that we can take them out now. Am I correct in assuming that?
You are correct. We shall go and do that. Let's cut to you pouring it out and doing some hard labor.
Remember how we said that Jesse was gonna cut and do hard labor?
We're gonna just...
Joke's on him. He's gonna do hard labor.
All right, so here Eric is just pouring out that 50% vinegar, 50% water mixture into the bathtub. He's making little screeching noises, just thought that was important to point out. Then he's gonna add some regular old water and rinse off that solution on the rocks, and then we're gonna let that sit for about 10 to 15 minutes. All right, so here Eric is just pouring out that regular old water. The rocks are done soaking. Excuse the mess, I just gotta go grab him some paper towels real quick to dry those rocks off.
COVID intermission.
Right now we just, after we let them sit for like 30-ish minutes in the 50% water, 50% vinegar solution, we put them in just with, we poured that solution out, then we put water in, and we let that sit for like 10-ish, 15 minutes. And now we just poured it out, and now we're just gonna dry them all up with some paper towels so they're nice and dry so that we can use them to build. That's what we're doing.
Some music.
Alright, here are all of our cleaned rocks. We lost only one because Eric used brute force and broke it in half.
No, it was, look at it's weak. It's weak.
So now we fully have all of the supplies that we need. So I'm just gonna take that over there. I
suck at color camera. I keep on covering the voice thing. So at points you're gonna sound. You're gonna sound like a minion. Hormone monster.
Okay, so we're gonna bring that over there. We're going to have all of the things that we need to make the enclosure. We have made some slight modifications to things just because we're trying out new stuff, and basically we're just gonna figure this out on camera and you guys are gonna see exactly. All right, so I'm going to set you guys up so you can see, but right now it is a bit of a mess.
Hold on, show them the background.
So right now Eric just mixed up some stuff for the background. This is part reptile sand and part coconut fiber, Eco Earth. And we just sprayed that down with some water because we're not using that as our substrate. We're using that for the background. So I'm just gonna place you up over here next to Poke so that you can see what we're doing. Yeah, so let's get started.
All right, so here Eric is spraying down the backside of the enclosure with some water. That's just to help with the Gorilla Glue because Gorilla Glue is water activated. So we spray the back with water, and right now he's just cleaning up the sides with to make sure that the Gorilla Glue doesn't get on the side or expand because the side has water on it. Here he is just putting the Gorilla Glue on. He's giving it about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch of a border on the side. You'll see us later when we're cleaning off the back side be a little upset with the border we ended up making just because it leaves a little space, but we decided that it looked actually kind of nice, like a little picture frame. So Eric's just doing little tic-tac-toe crisscross patterns with the Gorilla Glue, just filling it all in, making all those big spots fill in. We aren't doing a whole bunch just because when we did our Tokay Gecko's enclosure, it did expand a lot, which wasn't a problem for her enclosure because it kind of looks really cool, but we didn't want the background to take up too much space, so we put a lot less Gorilla Glue on this one than we did for Poke's, which is the name of our Tokay Gecko. So here we are just placing the rocks. We kind of had a little bit of a mishap, which I took out just because you guys didn't need to see us fumbling around for that long with rocks. We had originally tried to mark the back with Sharpie and the rocks with Sharpie, but they all kind of disappeared. So we finally figured out where to put them, and we were fairly happy with the way they looked. We became more happy as the building process went along, and we saw that it actually came out kind of cool. So now we're just spraying down the tank again because, like I said before, Gorilla Glue is activated by water. So you just have to add a little bit more extra water so that it can stick to everything and expand and do its job all perfect. And now we're just adding that substrate mixture that Eric made before. So again, it's just the coconut Eco Earth and some Reptisand for the background, not the substrate. So don't worry, it's not what our leopard gecko's gonna be prancing around on. But yeah, you see we're having trouble with the rocks because we couldn't figure out how to make them stand up. We are still learning how to make these natural backgrounds, but we're doing our best. So here we are just patting down the substrate because Gorilla Glue expands and pushes it upwards and it kind of moves everything around. So we were just trying to push that down as much as we could so that everything pretty much stayed in place. In this little lull, I think Eric had to mix some more substrate together because we underestimated the amount that we would need to fully cover the background. And basically after this step, we left it to dry for about an hour once we got everything where we wanted it. And Eric would come back and press down on the background to make sure that it didn't come up too much or expand more than we wanted it to, just so it would look fairly flat and not bumpy. And I always would hear him from the room, him just making little noises, screaming because some of the rocks would have moved, but he fixed everything. You'll see the finished product in a few clips, but this is just us making it look as nice as we can because our new leopard gecko friend needs a nice luxurious place to live. Enjoy this little clip of Eric and I arguing in fast motion.
That's what I thought. I knew it went like this, and then you said no. You said, I don't know how this goes, and then you flipped it. You told me to flip it. You literally said it's the wrong way. As in flip it, as in this side goes on the other side. This goes here? Yeah. That makes more sense. And you step away.
So here we are just cleaning off that excess substrate from the background, just wiping it off, knocking it off with our hands, and then that's Eric's butt. And then once we knock down all of the substrate, we just scoop it up, take it out of the enclosure because we don't want her on any loose substrate, just out of fear of her accidentally eating or swallowing the loose substrate. So that's what we're just doing. We're just cleaning it up before we get all of our other pieces assorted and assembled. So I am going to leave the background noise on because I think it sounds so funny. Eric and I sped up is hysterical, and I feel as though you guys should hear it too. But anyways, we're just taking some of the rocks that we found at the beach and disinfected, and we are making a hide for our gecko with it. I'm just playing around with safe ways to put it together, essentially because we don't want our gecko getting crushed, so we're trying to get as much glue to make it all stick. It's actually still drying right now. Excuse the sneeze, but hopefully it turns out well, but you guys will see when I film the final clip how it actually looks. But this is just us assembling her hide because we're trying to be a little bit more creative with our enclosures. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then once we finish assembling this, we just put in a couple last touches, and you guys will be able to see. And basically the final product will be when we get the gecko and put her in there. So thank you for watching.
Hey guys, so we have finally finished up our leopard gecko enclosure. Originally, in the original video clip that we filmed when we were building the background, we ended up putting too many rocks onto the background, and we also didn't wet the substrate enough, so it didn't activate the Gorilla Glue as much as it should have, and the rocks were much too heavy, and they pulled the background off of the glass completely. And so we basically had to start over. Not completely, because we had all the supplies. We just basically Eric took the Eco Earth substrate, and then we added a little bit, very small amount of sphagnum moss. I still don't know how to say that. Sphagnum moss, and then we added a little bit of reptile sand, Reptisand, and mix that together with water because we got the Eco Earth in the block. We didn't use nearly as much moss as we did for Pokey's enclosure, but we mixed that up, and we did the same thing. We wet the backdrop of the enclosure, then we placed our rocks and our backdrop items. We also have a piece of I believe it's Mopani wood on the back, and we placed those. Then we sprayed the Gorilla Glue down again to activate it, and we put our substrate mixture onto it. So in another video, if you're curious what sort of ratio of Reptisand to Eco Earth to sphagnum moss that we use, we'll let you know. But that's just what we did for the background here. We made it just a little more dense, a little more wet, so it held better and activated the Gorilla Glue more, and we used much less rocks, and it stuck, and it worked really well, and it looks really nice, really naturalistic, and we're really happy with the way that it came out. Again, this isn't her forever home. This is her temporary home right now. So it's like a really cute, nice little thing. When we do her bigger enclosure, we are going to get her this massive rock backdrop, and we're going to take you guys along that journey too, and we upgrade her enclosure when we get the chance. But right now we have it set up really nice, and I'm really proud of it. We made her own hide. We have all of the stuff in there. The only things that are missing are we have a UVB light for her. I'll go into all the details of the different things that we have for our reptiles in a different video, but we have our UVB light. Then we have her heat source, her heat emitter light. We don't have a heating pad for her just because she is an albino and she can get burned really easily, and we unfortunately right now don't have a thermostat to regulate the heat pad so that doesn't get too hot. So we just have the UVB light and the basking light, and we have lots of nice rocks for her to lie and sploot on, so that should be all right for her. And yeah, I think that's it. So let's just show you the enclosure, and I'll be right back.
So this is what the enclosure looks like from the front. I think it looks really, really nice. It does look very modern-esque. I lift up a little, you guys can see. So let me open this up for you guys so you can take a look inside. We just have our little Exoterra, and we open it up. So we have our little tile wood that you guys saw us put on. Then we have the naturalistic background. Now, if you guys are worried about humidity for your leopard gecko, we are only using this on the background. We are not using this as substrate. And we knocked off as much loose substrate as we could. And also, we are letting it dry completely, and we're not adding any extra humidity to it because geckos need pretty much the exact same degree of humidity that you have, or percentage of humidity that you have in your home. So once that dries out, that should be all good and it shouldn't cause us any problems. And then we have her homemade hide, where you can see a little bit of that Gorilla Glue popping out that we're probably going to fix or cover up, but it doesn't look too bad. Then we have some fake plants for her, just because that looks nice. We have that piece of Mopani wood. We have this snake hide that we glued together and basically made it her cool side hide. We have a little rock up there. If she ever makes it up there, she can have a nice flat surface. She has another stepping rock up onto here. She has a little nice ceramic bowl for her water. And she has plenty of flat area where she can hunt and get her crickets, her mealworms, her waxworms, her calcium, all those sorts of fun things. And in the back we have just some rocks where she can climb and bask, and she can have a basking spot on her hide too. So that's what it looks like from the front. This is what it looks like from the top. I'm actually really proud with how it came out. Eric and I worked really hard on this, and I think it's a really nice, classy build, and I'm very excited for her to get here so we can throw her in there and see how she likes it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching our video, and keep an eye out for more videos. We will take requests. We will do a whole reptile tour of the animals that we have right now. But we hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll hopefully see you soon.